on BBC2 trying to send good night as we hand over to BBC.
Makes sense to me.
Gentlemen.
And here we go.
Hey! Fuck you, give me money!
Hey, what?
Nope.
Engage active camouflage.
Volcanicity!
What the fuck is going on?
Good morning and welcome to episode 41 of the Train Sim News Show, coming to you at whatever time you're watching this. Here are the headlines. A local twat was given a right proper hiding after stealing a Pretenderlino reskin originally made by Major Wales Designs. The reskin's source was easily traced and lasted no longer than 12 hours on UK Train Sim before being notified to the site administrators. The thief is expected to serve no less than 300,000 hours of community service for his actions. The search is still on for the missing signal box at Pen Myanmar, featured on Dovetail's North Wales coastal extension route. Police searches have yielded almost nothing apart from the only clue given at the start that it was simply too confusing for new players. Hello everybody, and sorry for the longer than usual intro. It was done as a present for my best friend who has just started up uni. He's going to be doing 4 years of higher education, and at the end of the day, if it weren't for him making a BBC Sparta remix and me stumbling across it one day, I would have never have met him. And yeah, it's hard to imagine that it won't be too long until we've known each other for a decade, thanks to YouTube. You're a great friend and a great person to be around, and I wish you the best of luck for your future studies. I'm gonna miss you. But anyway, let's jump straight into news. 465 and 466 Enhancement Pack Volume 1. Because of course it had to be split off into multiple volumes, you ungrateful goat of a man. The pack focuses on the earlier versions of the Class 465, so you get the brush-sounded motors and the Metcam, Network Southeast, Connex, Southeastern Trains and Southeastern. Thanks to the assistance of Mr. Guter Bahnhof, you get little intricate details which I always appreciate, showcasing the differences between the different batches of 465s, and they've included every single livery the Class 465 and 466 were in, up until Southeastern, except this one of course, because thank you very much, Mr. Yodelling Man of Bavaria. Now, what are the sounds like? That's the most important thing we're looking for here. Well, as you've been getting used to hearing from the Armstrong powwows, run sounds are good, horn is good, physics are nice. For this one, due to reasons outside of their control, they had to use archived recordings to simulate the brush motors. These archived recordings are of noticeably lower quality, but I don't know here, it's more noticeable when you listen to it accelerate on the outside. On the inside it's fine, but the outsides, nah, it doesn't sound that good to be quite honest. Again, credit where credit is due, but where it's due. The Metcam sounds are fine, they're an improvement of the original, though I do find the motors to be sort of slow when changing frequency. Also to add, I don't think it sounds that good when you have the dynamic brakes turned on. It sounds like it is missing a few frequencies here or there when you're decelerating. If you compare it to my own recording of when I rode on a Class 465 with dynamic braking by sheer luck, you'll understand what I mean. I'll link it in the description just in case you haven't seen it. So, the final thing is, can I recommend this to somebody new? Annoyingly, I have to sort of clump this in the same group as the Class 156 from last time. Not in the sense of, okay, it is because of the inconsistency with the missing liveries and stuff. No, it goes like this. You see, you need the Class 465 in order to use this enhancement pack, obviously. But you also need East Coast Main Line South. Why? Because it uses the same cab from that, because it's of better quality, which I agree, but wouldn't modelling a new cab be a bit better? I mean, I fail to see how modelling a new cab would immediately bump the price up by £15, which is what ECML South costs. So effectively, this enhancement pack costs £27 basically, and I'm a big fan of the 465 brush sounds at least, a bit of Hitachi too, but I'll be damned if I like it that much, you know, to the point where I'll say, yeah, £27 is good value, especially when you miss off the Continental liveries and you don't even cover up the toilet area on the 466. Oh come on, I've seen the freeware community do similar stuff with the Mark IIIs, just to name an example. Would it really have been too much? Actually, no, here's a theory, they would have actually covered it up if it was a 319 or Class 37. There you go. Man, these inconsistencies are getting more and more noticeable as time goes on. I mean, it's like with the 158, how they missed off modelling the ploughs, which fortunately Mr. Major Wells has accommodated for us. I'll link below if you haven't got the chance to get them. And the less I talk about the 156, the better. But effectively, that's all I got to say regarding the 465 Enhancement Pack Volume 1. Actually, no, there's something else that's been kind of worrying me. You can see how the Armstrong Powerhouse are treating the 465 by splitting up their enhancement pack into 2 packs. I've been just wondering, what are they going to do with the Electro Stars? I could easily see them splitting it up into 3 packs, probably even 4. But I guess, when you're in a competition of 1, there's no reason not to be as scummy as possible. It is theoretically impossible to lose a competition of 1, though some people will try and find a way. Now, I originally wasn't going to look through the Class 50 because, well, it was still in development whilst I was making this episode, but it was released, so let's have a quick look through, shall we? Okay, Class 50 is a train I don't really care about in real life. It's a background pony. It's not offensive, it's just there. It was one of the first trains I ever drove in MSTS, but that's about it regarding to personal opinions. And that's a really good thing if you think about it, because it's effectively a loco I'm almost completely neutral over, which from a reviewing standpoint is fantastic! So what's it like in Train Sim then? What have the Armstrong Powerhouse and Bossman games provided with us today? Well, the modelling and textures are pretty good if you ask me. You get weathered variants, all 50 nameplates have been individually modelled, and you get every single livery. No, I'm serious, they actually provided every single livery of the Class 50. Well done, well done. That's worth what? A fortune cookie at least. Go on, take it, on me. Cab variations are provided, such as ones with CSR, GSMR, or you could be hardcore level 9 CPU in Smash Bros and use neither. The sounds are pretty good as well. The Class 50 has a quite bland sounding engine in general, but this representation in Train Sim seems to be a good enough match, I'd say so. The recording of the traction motors, whilst reused, does sound really nice in the cab when you're accelerating. It doesn't really bring anything new to the table features-wise, but it's at least nice to drive. My friend, when he first saw it, said, well, why is it £20? This game's getting really expensive. And I did say to him, well, yeah, but the real question that you should be asking is, why is it £5 cheaper than the Class 156? This is in addition to the fact that they included every single nameplate that the Class 50 has, as well as those motor rail wagons. That's what really confused me. But the answer to that question is going to be revealed in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1.
In response to numerous requests during the last couple of weeks, we are very pleased to announce an update for the Class 50 Locomotive Pack. This pack now features the unrefurbished variant of the class, with its various external differences and classic Hoover cooling fan sound.
Ah, that's very nice. I forgot to say, they didn't include the unrefurbished variants, because the Class 50 was refurbished in the early 1980s, late 70s, something around that time. And I didn't think any references were available, let alone for the sounds, because the Class 50 had a rheostatic brake, which was 100% reliable from the research that I found out about it. Plus, it was such a long time ago, I didn't think any sound recordings would exist, but clearly there was one person alive who clearly was utilising his epitaph and managed to work out that 40 years in the future, somebody might need the recording for the trade simulator. But it's not a complaint, it's nice, obviously. I don't care for the unrefurbished variant myself, but I guarantee that there are some people with double-barreled names who grew up during the miners' strike who would appreciate that. Alright, what's the catch?
For new customers, the price of the pack has risen to $24.99 to account for the extra content. For existing customers who purchased this pack before the 6th of November 2019 and would like to upgrade, you may do so for only $4.99 by simply repurchasing. This offer to upgrade for a discounted price will expire on the 30th of November 2019.
Oh, the water level in this dam is at an absolute 0, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so if you decided to support the Armstrong Powerhouse as early as possible, and you want to get the unrefurbished variant, you now have to pay an extra £5 because, well, they put a lot of hard work into bringing this in. I mean, they didn't have to. Then again, even acknowledging the differences of the unrefurbished versus the refurbished, it doesn't look that much different. I can see where presumably the cooling grids are for the rheostatic brake, but £5 extra all for that? I did do some tests to see if I could listen to what the Hoover sounds like, but even after 2 tests, I couldn't manage to notice it. At least that much. Bearing in mind in this test, I drove it at 100 miles an hour and then I did a full brake application. I'm fairly certain you'd hear something from the rheostatic brakes, because the 86 and 87 also have rheostatic brakes, and they really scream when you put the brakes on. You can't even change the head code box outside of the scenario editor. The Class 40, on the other hand, could do that. Why? Is that all of a sudden too much to ask? A level of consistency? Not this bumpy road of consistency that is clearly going on here. And this brings up another problem as well. Let's say you decided to purchase this before the 5th of November, because, you want to support the Armstrong Powerhouse early. And let's say you've exhausted your expendable income and thus you're not able to afford this until next month in December. What happens after that? Your only option is to buy it again. At full price. Meaning effectively, in this case, you would have paid nearly £45 for this trade, and I am putting my hands up in the air and saying, no, that is disgusting and it is completely anti-consumer. How is it fair to put your customers on a timer like this? It's not like a while stocks last, it's a digital product. The resource is endless as far as reality is concerned. Why the need to put this discount for existing buyers of the old version on a timer like this? I can't think of any viable reason, honestly, and neither could the commenters on the Armstrong Powerhouse's Facebook page, though people are sure to defend this, like this comment here, who is basically telling people to STFU and enjoy the game. Or in other words,
don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Oh, I might as well say that thread where that comment specifically came from mysteriously disappeared. Woo. Or maybe it was deleted by the Armstrong Powerhouse because people are criticising their products, you know the drill, you've seen the Class 156 antics. Also, I want to take time out now just to showcase to you just how expensive this game is getting. Let's make an example here, okay? Let's say somebody wants to make a scenario on the Riviera line with the Class 50 taking place back in the good old days, alright? And we're going to be uber generous. We're just going to use the HST, the 31 and the 117, so barely any freight, okay? You may have noticed I've missed off the Mark IIs, but I think you'll see just how expensive this is getting, okay? Just even ignoring the Mark II wagons, alright? So, the Class 50 is £25, plus the HST and the Volenta Enhancement Pack. Then there's the 31 and its respective Enhancement Pack. Then the 117, which is from the North Somerset Railway route, and its Pro Sound Pack. The total price, just for those items, bearing in mind we're ignoring freight wagons and the Mark II coaches, or, you know, we're just making it the most bare minimum scenario we can possibly do, would still add up to £90. I'm going to put the maths on screen as well. If you want to count the price of the Riviera line, then it's near £105. And if you want to count the Mark II... yeah, this game's getting quite expensive. Oh, I almost forgot to talk about the scenarios. Whoops. They provided 6 scenarios in this pack, but if you want more variety with the Class 50, there's a scenario pack done by Bossman Games. I mean, that's nice. Oh wait, it's $5.99. Oh, do you want a scenario pack with the unrefurbished Class 50s? Sure, here you go. $2.99, please. I'm detecting a slight amount of greed and just no respect for the customers here. Not specifically with the scenario packs, but more with the 50 as a whole. This whole sort of timed upgrade, or you'll have to spend an extra £20 in total because low X DDDDD get good. Everybody has the same amount of money every single part of the time, and you're just ungrateful if you complain. And mentality from the community side of point is just overall so anti-consumer and just complete joke. I was going to recommend the Class 50 to fans of the Class 50 or people who like that kind of train from that era, but after this, no way, I can't recommend the Class 50. This is borderline ATS subscription levels of anti-consumer. I swear the Arms from Powers are just so full of themselves now. This train is not worth 45 quid. It's not worth 25. Sure, there are items in other video games like in FSX that cost more, but flying a plane has more variables than driving a train, especially on this game itself. When you're driving a train, you don't really need to care about the wind speed, and if the wind speed is, let's say, high enough to blow the train over, then I think your stopping distances or how the train is going to handle will be the least of your concerns. Anyway, let's just toss the 50 into a bin and let's move on to Just Trains. Let's cover the updated 222 first. The 222 was recently updated to match the same standards as the Voyager that was updated a while ago, and because of that, most of the criticisms that I gave for the Voyager can also be applied to the Meridian we're taking a look at here, such as the sounds and the physics. Not the tail light problem, because it appears they fixed that. That's quite nice, so thank you very much. With that being said, you get improvements in this update such as the new East Midlands Railway livery, XEMT with the East Midlands Railway branding, better cab textures, better colours overall, the power brake controller is finally notched, thank you very much. The destination textures have been brightened up, the annoying as hell coughing and phone ringing sounds have been removed from the passenger view, thank you. And you also get some more quick drive consists as well. Very nice. They've even added some small little things, such as the yellow cab livery to represent after one of the Meridians had a collision a while ago. Alright, that's quite nice. Okay, it's not nice that it had a collision, but it's nice that they've acknowledged that. I can appreciate the improvements that they made, but honestly the reason I don't like driving the Meridian on Train Sim, even after this update, is because the sounds and physics aren't that good. At least specifically the sounds, they're just... I'm sorry, I can't. It's only barely like the real thing. Another thing that annoys me about the Meridian is the lack of auto-numbering. Let me show you what I mean. Here I've loaded up a quick drive on the Midland Main Line. At the front it says 222005. Alright, what does it say at the rear? 222017. Great. Honestly, I think every train in Train Sim, at least released now, should have a form of auto-numbering. I think you know, to give the Armstrong Powwows credit where credit is due, the way they sort out the auto numbering, where you could just, let's say, click one carriage of a train and then sort out all the configurations regarding it from there, is a great way of handling the auto numbering. Maybe something similar could be done with this train, so that it always shows the correct unit number. Plus, it'll stop giving scenario creators a headache as well. Their work is already hard enough as it is. But I can at least say it's an improvement from before, so that's nice at least. Can I recommend it? If you'd like driving routes that the Meridian is used on, go ahead, otherwise you're not missing too much. And again, most of you are probably going to wait for the inevitable Voyager/Meridian enhancement pack from the Armstrong Powerhouse. Oh, we've also seen some updates regarding the Metropolitan line and the S-Stock, which I said I'm going to review together. They're also going to make the S7+1. That's nice. The pictures from the Metropolitan line definitely seem quite nice, honestly. It's not West Coast Mainline Trent Valley tier of nice, but Just Trains are improving, as I said, since they've been doing the Cornish Mainline. Their quality has been slowly rising up. And now let's look at their newest route, Sheffield to Darby. Let's start by talking about the best bit about this route by far. The assets. Holy damn, these are some of the best assets I've seen from a Just Trains route by far. I love the detail that has been put into this route. And it's all thanks to the assets they created. Look at these real posters, both EMT and Northern ticket machines, one-car stop signs. In fact, multiple variants of stop signs, including SDO stop signs. A new signal post model. Oh, finally! And some new signal gantry holders. I love those so much, they're so usable! I've been utilising them on the modified routes I've been showcasing on my Facebook page. You may have noticed them, and there's a reason I love using them. They're so good! And I believe they contain every single possible feather-light position you could do. Oh man! Thank you, that's so good! You could even make your own custom-sized shelters with lofts. And you can even place new style bins. And that's great! But what does all this mean if you have sod all to utilise? Okay, as a route, what I'm going to do is showcase to you the one problem with this route by just looking at a map and highlighting it in MS Paint. 3, 2, 1, here you go. Now, when you know that the majority of the services that run on this line either A, call at Chesterfield, or B, run non-stop between the two stations, you gotta ask yourself, is this route really worth £25? A route that, let me remind you, still suffers from the odd Just Trains track building hiccups. Like here, just outside of Belper. The curvature is smooth and fine, and then immediately, oops, gotta just shift it real quickly onto the original alignment because we got it mixed up, sorry. It's not as bad as the Western Main Lines or Newcastle to Edinburgh, but it's still there. You don't even get Matlock because, yes, another 6 miles would be too much to ask. You know, unlike the Western Main Lines. I mean, it's good that they've learned their lesson not to make routes too big, but this is going too far in the opposite direction, if you ask me at least. I don't know, maybe if they took the route north to Leeds, or northeast towards Doncaster, or perhaps some Illuminati-esque triangle between Derby, Sheffield and Nottingham. It's almost like they're trying to copy Dovetail by making routes that are really short and then adding extensions. Because they did say in a comment section on Facebook that if this route sells well, they might be considering extensions for a future. Whereabouts, I don't know, but they did say that. But even with Dovetail, they usually provide one new train with the routes. Most of the time. And I can't ignore that, you know, this route going to Derby, they missed the perfect opportunity to include departmental rolling stock. We already have the likes of the railhead treatment train, the new measurement train and snowplows, but I'd always appreciate more. Like for example, the Windhoff MPV, one of the most versatile trains on the entirety of the United Kingdom. Next to probably a Unimog. If you were to include a train like that, I would probably recommend this add-on even above the assets. That train is so versatile and viable, it could be literally a case of name me a route where it can't run on. What about some de-icers? Some network rail ballast or engineering work trains? The inspection wagon Caroline? The Class 73 Variant 9? You know, something new! I'm just throwing you ideas here. Something that will make people think, yes, this is worth my time, I'm gonna get this. Of course, despite this route's middling viability in terms of scenario possibilities, it hasn't stopped people trying to make payware scenario packs out of it. I like to call this desperate, but you know, to each their own. Alright, to end it off, I'm just gonna say, you know, the route kind of sucks-ish. It's nice of the detail that they put in, but it's very unviable in terms of scenarios. You have pretty much one option. But I do want to say, I really think that Just Train should just make a dedicated asset pack with all the assets that they've been utilising in their routes and just put it up on their storefronts. Separated from the routes, but please into the common library folder, please. I don't want to have to replace everything on Kristen. And the reason why I'm saying something like this is, well, there's some clear and obvious talent that's going into the little details like these, you know, stop markers, bins, posters, and I love using these assets so much. I think that they are fantastic. But I think making a dedicated asset pack that you can just get from your storefronts would make these much more accessible to the community. To add, you could also take advantage of that and include even more content, like more semaphore signals, searchlight signals, more LED signal variants, ground signals, splitting distance. Oh, I'd love to have splitting distance with the Just Train's signaling scripts. Different types of speed signs, other station furniture that I can't think of. There's a nice website called Rail Signs, and I think you should take a look through there. It's got some nice resources for signaling signs and other miscellaneous infrastructure on the railway in the United Kingdom. I've also contributed some stuff there, and I've spoken to the webmaster. He seems like a really nice person. But if you do decide to do this, I would recommend you take a look through that website for more information. Well, there you go, that's all I've got to say regarding Just Trains and other stuff. We're pretty much at the end of the episode, but I want to end it off by saying that Dovetail are doing a survey. It's a very simple survey aimed at those who play Train Sim 2020 or Train Sim World, like people play Train Sim World seriously. But, you know, I highly recommend that you do fill it out, because it clearly seems like Dovetail are desperate for feedback in some way, shape or form, or at least curious. And the more of you that fill it in, the more that it'll help for them when they are correlating the data. It's linked in the description if you want to take a look through, and I'm also going to showcase to you some of the answers that I've answered, just in case of curiosity. But please answer truthfully, don't just put stupid answers, it doesn't help them. I still have a modicum of faith for them that they might, you know, just ditch Train Sim World and realise, yeah, that game's going nowhere, try and focus on improving Train Sim 2020. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Apologies for the delay to this video, but obviously, if I wasn't delayed, I wouldn't have been able to talk about the 57 fiasco. Oh, no, not 57, class 50! There is no 57 fiasco! Yet. Anyway, sorry about this. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Goodbye!